This week's magazine is Elsie, and it's a true one-man band. This is a magazine made by a guy called Les Jones, and when I say he makes it, like, you know, he writes all the editorial, he does all the designs, takes all the pictures, draws all the illustrations, and the whole thing is kind of a vehicle for his various obsessions. So, for example, he is obsessed by the number of discarded industrial gloves that you see by the roadsides in Britain, and so you get a little story about that. And I think, you know, it would be fair to say that he is kind of an archetypal British eccentric. So the first issue came out a couple of years ago, and every single cover was different. He customised every cover. This one, he's kind of like dialed it down a bit, so there are 100 covers made for this one, printed 1,000 copies. So there are 10 copies of the mag with this cover, and even then he sort of customises it a bit, like with that star up there. And I just think that it's a really, really interesting project. You look at stuff like this, or, you know, an illustration about the junk mail he receives in 24 hours, or a piece on like boarded up shops, and there almost seems to be sort of like a willful ugliness to it. Like, you know, he's taking a very, very distinct view. But then you see something like this, and it's a really touching, heartfelt piece on a community he went and did some work with in Tanzania, which is where kind of people who've been sort of like cast out from wider society go and live there. And I think that taking it as a whole piece, you sort of see it as something that, in a way, is kind of very self-indulgent. It's one person's interests and the things that they think are important. But then that's what makes for a great editorial vision. He's had this kind of idea for something he wants to make, and he's had the courage of his convictions to carry on through with it. I think it's an excellent little project, and well worth seeking out. I think you can only get it from his website, and it's definitely worth hunting out, so you can see it for yourself.